aftermath of the Southport incident, the killings of these three young girls over hands of very disturbed, mentally speaking. She's 17 years old, and despite got 52 years for it, there's a public inquiry, like now and then, when these things happen, to find out what went wrong, the responsibilities. Well, this chap has had a troubled teenage life, I should say. Kicked out and expelled from schools, violence, and then psychiatric treatment, and a family background, judging from the social services of that place, find a very incomprehensive parents rearing this kid in the United Kingdom. The fact is, the police knew, the social service knew, and health authorities, which he was in cure for psychiatric problems, knew he was a potential danger. It was a walking time bomb. And what is amazing is, 1 week before he'd done those atrocities in that dance gymkhana thing, he was released from juvenile psychiatric treatment or structure he was in. And obviously, regarding him embracing the jihad in Islam terrorism thing, the press and the authorities tend to, brush aside this reality, which in the findings and the police reports was clearly stated. They found material when they raided his house, and obviously they found things which, materials which is evidence he was in this stuff. And even on his tablets, the most famous jihadi, which is in England, which is the so-called beheaders of the infidels, had it there. And there was an incident he wanted to plan an attack on a bus, and he said so to the coppers when they stopped him, because he had a very big knife, and his intentions to cause harm. Regarding the report of the Ministry State of Health, so far, well, it's under public inquiry, and the report will be written and made public. The fact is, the press and the powers that be had painted his character like he was innocent, and it was revealed he had a troubled background, violence, psychiatric problems. Practically, they knew. They never done nothing about it, and I don't think it's the first case of its type. Certain elements came out. Then afterwards, they promised reforms and stuff like that, until the next incident of this type occurs again. There are responsibilities. Why these people did not act? It was under the radar of the coppers, the local health authorities, the social services. Obviously, as usual, these people hide behind bureaucracy. And seeing, I used to live in the United Kingdom, I thought this type of behaviour, establishment behaved like this. They wash their hands on the responsibility. Here in Italy, I think time has passed in England, and regarding certain, problems and phenomena of this time, they tend to underestimate it, because obviously when it comes to mental health, which will be another video probably, most doctors tend not to treat the person in a humane way. Just fill them up with medication and tell them to fuck off. This is in our modern life, society I should say, especially here in Italy. In the United Kingdom, there's the Public Health Act of 1984, which regulates with a bill how these cases should be dealt with. It goes between the social services, the mental health authorities, and the coppers, which knew this character was a danger and never done fuck all. In other words, this could have been avoided, and have those who had a responsibility, why did not act? Because as usual, we didn't know, we underestimate the bureaucracy. It's no more an excuse. If it's your job to do that, it's your job. And you should be accountable, which I think under current legislation, you're accountable. They should be prosecuted, if found guilty, convicted with a severe sentence, because you need a deterrent when it comes to these things. To show these things have to be dealt in a serious way, because if you let these people get away with it, there could be in future cases the authorities to wash their hands on cases like this, because they can't be bothered as a burden, blah blah blah. It's easier for them to have an 8 to 5 job, and they don't give a fuck. What about these people who have real serious problems, left alone to their devices? The responsibility on a family, which has a huge impact on every component in a certain way. Well, I just hope who were responsible, who could have prevented this character doing this thing, will be accountable for their errors which they've done. Even they lose their job, fine. Because, let's face it, you're qualified and paid to do that job. You never done it. Get the sack. As simple as that. And here we need people who are qualified, who have experience of these things. And things like this can't repeat, which I fear in the next future, in some way or the other, could repeat.